Angu was delighted to be on the detail assigned to go out and find the perfect solstice tree. Tiro was likewise feeling jolly about it. Mumbor, not so much. The cold air played havoc with his nasal congestion. As for Splin, he was here because he knew the trees better than anyone. Surely he would be able to find the grandest, most beautiful solstice tree ever. Tiro especially was feeling good this day. The constant exercise he'd been getting in the employ of K-Rock had slimmed him down and buffed him up. He was now an excellent specimen of a goblin, and with his axe on one shoulder, he felt very manly indeed, far from the fat, out-of-breath fellow he used to be. Even Angu, who, while female in form, was still not attracted to men, had to admit that Tiro did have a certain appeal. Mumbor, on the other hand, had no appeal. The Lutin was always irritable. "What about this one?" he asked at the first tree they came to, hoping to get home quickly. He'd put his hand on a birch tree. "Oh, that would be beautiful," said Angu. "A tall, thin trunk with high branches. We can hold the feast directly underneath it." "Terrific idea," Tiro agreed. He placed his axe at the base of the tree and pulled back. "Wait!" shouted Splin. "You don't want this one." "Why not?" "It's got termites. You'd be infesting the building and all of the furniture." "Well, we don't want that," said Angu. "Let's keep looking. There's plenty of time yet." Point wandered slowly through the aisles of the trading post. He wanted to find the perfect gift for his dear friend K-Rock, but was at somewhat of a loss. Jorah, seeing that the Cyclops seemed a little lost, asked, "Can I help you find something?" "Yeah, I'm looking for something for the captain for Solstice. I'm not really sure what he'd like." How about a game set? Maybe Goblin Chess or Jackals and Hounds. I just got this one in from Carolor. You go around Galandor conquering different countries and then charging taxes from everyone who lands on your spaces." "No. I happen to know he never learned Goblin Chess, and he doesn't really have much time for board games. His jobs as commander, father, mine owner, and council chair keep him pretty busy." Well then perhaps an item of clothing. A nice pair of sandals, maybe." "K-Rock always wears boots." "Then perhaps he'd like a nice pair of socks." Point frowned. "I can't give someone socks for Solstice." "Right, what was I thinking? How about a necklace? Tamar Greenstar just brought in these lovely handmade necklaces." "K-Rock makes it a point to never wear jewelry, part of keeping himself humble." "Yes, I see. Maybe some nice cookware. He does eat, after all." "He eats all his meals either in the chow line or at Splim's." "I have these flutes I made myself." "You can't play one." Jorah held up a set of frilly lingerie. "How about these?" "He's not even married." "I know. I figured since you're going to shoot down the idea anyway, why fight it?" "I'm going to get there before you guys," shouted Grickle as he pulled into the lead. "Nuh-uh," Grackle called back. "I'm going to get there first." "I'm going to beat both you guys," yelled Soapok, beating his wings as hard as he could. It was difficult to tell who actually came in first as all three bats touched down in Sky Valley at the same time, changing into three Lutin boys as they lit, much to the amusement of the local humans. "Phew," said Grickle, "that was fun." "Beat you to the river," Grackle goaded. "You're on," said Soapok. "On foot." Grickle, Grackle, and Soapok, who had been out of breath a moment ago, sprinted toward the river, nearly knocking over an old lady on the way. "Sorry," Soapok called backward, unwilling to fall behind the others. Marcus seriously enjoyed the hot cider at Nouse's. The camel was a very gracious hostess, and surprisingly deft at pouring using only her head. She kept the drinks full and hot. "I love this time of year," said the human. "Oh, this brings back memories." "Do tell," said K-Rock. "Well, first off, winter solstice comes in the middle of summer down in Irambi." "Huh. What I mean is when it's winter here, it's summer there, so our celebrations are a little backwards." We'd have a solstice tree with all the leaves still on it. We'd have presents wrapped in bright paper, garland hung everywhere, and every year Mom and Dad would take us kids to see Shanar.
Who's Shanar? asked Quargle.
Marcus sputtered. Don't tell me you've never heard of Shanar.
Okay, I won't. Who's Shanar?
Shanar is one of the great heroes of old in Irambi and Fan Shore. He's got a long red robe and a long white beard. Every year he comes along in a sled pulled by magical goats to spread solstice cheer to all the good little girls and boys. He gives gifts to everyone, especially the poor, on Solstice Eve night. Don't you guys have someone like that?
Kind of, said Quarkle. We have Kallas.
Does he bring solstice presents too?
Not exactly. He's this big fat ogre who wears animal hides. He comes on Solstice Eve to kidnap the naughty children and eat them.
That's horrible, said Marcus.
That's bugbear parenting.
Roogie and June nearly ran into each other on the way into the school building in Mountain Shade. With apologies to one another, they hurried to their seats. Today, a new teacher started teaching a class that neither of them wanted to miss. The teacher's desk had been pushed all the way up against the blackboard. On that desk was a weasel. As the clock struck 3, the weasel picked up the chalk. "Good afternoon, everyone," she said. "My name is Almak Weasel." She wrote her name on the board in big letters. "Beyond these walls, you may call me Almak, but in this class I expect you to address me as Mrs. Weasel. I will tolerate no nonsense in this class. It is my custom to reward hard work, but it is also my custom to punish failure. Try very hard not to be the worst student in the class, because one of you will be going home today as a pig. That said, welcome to Transformation Spells 101. Now, read that all back to me, Splin told his new helper.
500 turkey cubes,
said Morgul the Norker, who had only just learned to read and write and was still having some trouble.
1,000 potatoes, 800 yams, 1,200 loaves of bread.
Better make that an even 1,500. Morgul changed the number.
60 sacks of flour, 200 pumpkins, 100 gallons of milk, 1 barrel of salt, 2,000 ears of corn, 100 pounds of chota berries, 500 onions, 200 pounds of green beans, 100 pounds of mushrooms, and last but not least, 1 jellied cranberry sauce shaped like a jar. Add 50 pounds of mint to that. Sir, I think it's wonderful that we're cooking the Solstice feast for the entire Federation, but how are we going to cook all these?
With those, said Splim, opening the back door of the restaurant. An addition had been built onto the building, and in that addition were 20 ornos, dome-shaped ovens the height of a human.
Where did those come from? Asked Morgul.
From Alnalom, the giant. He was trying to reinvent the umbrella. Now, go get those supplies from the food bank. Take your time. Don't try to get it all in one trip.
Yes, sir.
This was the part of the job which Morgul liked best. He loved being out in the open air, even if it was the middle of winter. The loading and unloading was hard work, but the ride made it all worthwhile. When Morgul arrived and handed his list to the bank keeper, a squirrel by the name of Bali, the squirrel whistled and said, "That sure is a lot."
"Can you fill it?"
"This is bounty. Absolutely we can fill it." Bali scampered to the doors of the storage area. When he opened them, he was shocked to find the entire warehouse completely empty. Morgul soon found himself trying to revive a fainted squirrel. Kara enjoyed playing with C. He wasn't like the werebat children. They would invariably take to flying at some point during play, leaving Kara, with her one wing, alone on the ground. C was not only always on the ground, he loved things which traveled on the ground. With his mother's help, he had carved replicas of every one of the steam locomotives, from the old ones with their stark utilitarian look to the newer ones, which the dwarves had built to look like dragons, rhinos, and other animals. There was even the one which Smallbeard himself had built to look like a castle. "I love riding the trains," said Kara. "I love it when they go really fast." "Me too," said C. "This is my favorite one." He picked up a locomotive which resembled a flying eagle with its wings raised. "This one is called the Aquila Queen. I heard that they are going to build a new set of tracks all the way around the Federation just for the Aquila Queen so that it can go really, really fast." Booley had spent an hour chatting with Prijapati, during which time he selected a toy completely unseen by Kara, paid for it, and had it wrapped. "Come, Kara, it's time to go." "Okay, Daddy. Thank you for playing with me, Tsi. Would you like to come to my birthday party tomorrow?" "Sure." "Is that okay, Daddy?" "Of course." "It's at 5 o'clock. Bye-bye." Prijapati and C waved goodbye as Kara and Booley walked out hand in hand. In the distance, bells were ringing. Booley had completely forgotten. Today was Sunday. The followers of Pertarbna were having their evening worship. Booley and Kara would be late if they went now, but perhaps they could make the last part of the service. "What do you think, Kara? Should we try to make it to the church?" "Yes," Kara said brightly. "Okay, but we're going to have to run if we're going to catch the train." "You have to be a horsey," said Kara with a grin, invoking the special game she and her father would play when in a hurry. "Okay, you know what to do. Say the magic spell." Kara giggled. "Daddy, gladdy, morsey, horsey." Booley stretched his neck and hunched his shoulders, pretending he was changing into a horse. Then he pawed the air with his fists and began galloping toward the train station with his daughter laughing all the way.